A huge massive snowstorm is headed for the northeast by Sunday, Monday, but today we just have some small storms. Good morning, I'm meteorologist Pew. It's February 21st, 2026. So before we talk about the snowstorm, we gotta talk about this low pressure that's currently causing some storms in the south because I promise it's connected. So currently in places from Mississippi all the way to the Carolinas, we have a line of thunderstorms already brewing from this morning, but we're gonna see the most risk around this afternoon to this evening where we may see a small risk for tornadoes, hail, and wind. We are also gonna have a marginal risk for flash flooding on the southern part of Alabama and Georgia. And these lines of thunderstorms are caused by this low pressure that's paired with a cold front that's passing through. And whenever you have a cold front passing through a warm, moist air, it lifts that air, which is why we're seeing these lines of thunderstorms. But behind this cold front, obviously it brings colder air, but also more drier air. So still in the eastern Rockies and the southern plains, we are having those post-frontal conditions where the air is still relatively dry, and we're still having some breezy conditions. So we're still, again, we're gonna have a marginal fire risk. And then looking at 500 millibars, we do have some decent shear, which is help producing that lift as well, and also creating that marginal risk for the tornadic activity. Now notice there is a creeping big trough that's in the Great Lakes region, which is one of the reasons why we're seeing a lot of snow in places like northern Michigan in this moment. And whenever you have a really big trough, it creates a lot of vorticity or spin, and that helps with the lift into areas it's headed into. And we're going to see this trough deepen and strengthen and then start headed to the northeast. And along with that, that surface pressure that we see in the south currently is going to go into the east coast and eventually into the Atlantic Ocean. And when this low pressure hits the waters, it's going to be an environment that's a lot warmer, but also a lot more moisture too. And so we're going to see this surface low pressure really explode and amplify in strength. And unfortunately, as tomorrow gets closer, most models are indicating that it's going to kind of go adjacent to the east coastline, relatively close. The amount of total snow accumulation that some places are going to get is going to be very dependent on the location of this low pressure as it travels to the northeast. If it was further than the coast, then we would see a lot less snow, but because it's relatively close, we're going to see a lot of snow, and generally in most places on the east coastline. There is very high confidence that most places in the east coastline are going to see about 12 inches or even greater, starting from the mid-Atlantic, from places like Maryland all the way to places like Massachusetts. Multiple models are suggesting that some places may even get upwards of 18 inches or greater. And the time frame for this is going to occur by Sunday morning all the way through Monday. Something to point out, as this low pressure strengthens, we're going to see a lot more surface wind. Especially if you live in the vicinity of the coastline, you may see wind speeds from 25 to 35 miles per hour or even greater. Even if you live more inland, we still may see some high wind speeds, which means we're going to see some blizzard conditions for this snowstorm. And with this high wind, I also wouldn't rule out some power outages too. Now going back at 500 millibars at that trough in the Great Lakes, as it travels to the northeast, we're going to see a widespread amount of snow from the Great Lakes all the way to the Ohio Valley and then eventually the northeast. Now most places are just going to see some snow flurries, but if you live on the eastern side of the Great Lakes, you will see more snow accumulation, or on the western side of the Appalachians. So for those in these areas, definitely expect some snow by late tonight into tomorrow morning.